All right, now let's get into chords. So on the bass guitar, generally we don't really play chords because we have a lot of low bass sounds, and if we stack notes on top of each other, it's gonna sound very muddy. So instead what we do is we play the chord tones, which means the notes of a chord, and we play that under a chord progression, for example. Now, I can explain how chords are built because it's still good to know how chords are built. To build chords, you basically pick a bunch of notes from a scale, stack them on top of each other, and then you get what we call chords. So the most simple chord is what we call a triad, which is the first, the third, and the fifth interval stacked on top of each other. So if I play the C major scale on piano, we go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I pick the first, third, and the fifth intervals in the scale and play them together, you get a C major triad. I can also add the seventh note or the seventh interval, and we get the C major seventh. I can also add the ninth, and I can go on until the 13th to extend the chord to make it sound more full. Now, if I were to do the same thing on the bass guitar, if I were to play a C major triad on the bass guitar, it's gonna sound like this, which sounds horrible because it's way too muddy and you can't really, it doesn't sound good in music generally. So instead what we do is we just play the chord tones like I explained earlier. So if we play the C major scale and we pick the first, third, and fifth intervals, we get the C major triad. If I add the seventh, we get the C major seventh. If I add the ninth, we get the C major ninth. The same thing if I play a minor scale and we pick the first, third, fifth, we get a C minor triad. If I add the seventh, we get a C minor seventh. If I add the ninth, we get a C minor ninth. So that's in a nutshell how chords are built. But again, you shouldn't really learn how to play chords on a bass. Instead, what you should do is learn to play the chord tones, which will be explained in the book.